New studies showing that teen vaping has hit a 10-year low. According to the National Youth Tobacco Study that was done by the FDA, the number of middle and high school students who reported using e-cigarettes dropped to 1.63 million this year. Now, while that might seem like a lot, it is down from 2.13 million last year, and it's about 1/3 of the number when 5 million were reported vaping at its peak in 2019. The study also found that the use of nicotine pouches among teens is holding steady, with 1.8% of respondents saying that they use those type of products. Well, the latest jobs report comes in slightly under expectations, but up from the previous month. Experts say all signs point to a cooling labor market that may finally be reaching some stability. Bradley Blackburn breaks down the report for us.
A late summer bounce is shining a little bit of sun on the jobs market. Labor Department data out Friday show the U.S. added 142,000 jobs in August, up from a revised and disappointing 89,000 in July. Construction tacked on 34,000 jobs, getting a boost from heavy and civil engineering work in the bipartisan infrastructure law. Healthcare added 31,000 jobs. Unemployment ticked down to 4.2%, the first dip since March.
The labor market is definitely in transition because we were so overheated coming out of COVID.
That shift was noticeable at this recent jobs fair.
There's almost an equal number of people looking as there was for jobs. So I'm seeing the pendulum really kind of swing back towards the middle.
You just got to keep grinding.
Editor Steve Sachs has been living off unemployment and his savings since May as he looks for work in production.
Work is a little scarce, and I think it's slowly picking up, but I know I have colleagues that are still out of work and looking or just starting jobs.
This is the last jobs report before the Federal Reserve's big meeting in September, and it tees up the Fed to issue a long-awaited rates cut.
The time has come for policy to adjust.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell has indicated he's ready to act.
It is highly likely that the Federal Reserve will begin its rate cut campaign with 0.25 percentage point. I know a lot of people are waiting and hoping to see big, huge cuts. It's just not going to happen yet.
And while wage growth is ahead of inflation right now, it doesn't make up for the price surges that started in 2022, leaving many Americans to still play catch up. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Now, another sign of cooling, the number of Americans who are working part-time but would prefer full-time work rose, continuing a year-long trend. Well, a new device is making ear tube surgery a little easier. We'll show you how next on Valley News Live at 4.